All right, so when we started talking about what topics we're most passionate about, for me, it's lifting up queer history. Given the climate of everything going on right now, don't know if y'all have noticed, but it's a shit show. And queer spaces and queer history and queer excellence and queer joy is just being eradicated and erased. Here in New Orleans, just a few weeks ago, we honored the 53rd anniversary of the Upstairs Lounge fire. And I'm a member of the Crescent City Leatherman, and every year we organize the annual memorial for that. And up until the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, the Upstairs Lounge fire was the largest LGBT massacre in our nation's history. We had 32 community members lose their lives in fire in the French Quarter. And as a transplant to New Orleans, it's always been really shocking to me how many folks that are born and raised here aren't even aware that this fire happened. That there has been a beautiful plaque laid in the ground with the name of our fallen community siblings, and folks would just walk over it. And a few years ago, that plaque was pried up out of the ground and stolen, never to be recovered. And a bunch of us came together to raise the funds to replace it. And now there is a new plaque. We fixed a few typos when we replaced it. And it's there, and we continue to gather it every year in June. But I'm just always so shocked when people that have grown up here their whole lives don't know. We're seeing these stories minimized. We're seeing people forgetting them. With the current political climate, it's often easier to just not speak up and say anything when our history is being ignored or forgotten, and we can't allow that to happen. By day I work in public health. I've worked in the field of HIV prevention and care and harm reduction for going to be 18 years this December, as a person living with HIV and hearing those stories about the early days of the AIDS crisis and the lives lost and the pain that our community endured and the permanent scar that it has left in our community. And having so many young folks now not aware of how hard our elders and those that came before us fought for those medications, fought for access, fought for this funding that is being chipped away at and taken back. So really having these conversations and keeping that history alive is very, very important. Because we are going backwards in so many ways. And I never thought, I always dreamed that I would get to be the old queen that would talk about history and bring up, these legacies and this pain, and because I grew up surrounded by generations older than me, and they raised me to be the person I am today. Now, at the young age of 41, soon to be 42, I do feel like I'm filling the shoes as the old queen, and talking about these things. So, in any opportunity I can, I always want to lift up those stories and just kind of bring it back to that. We have come so far, but we're still fighting. Working in public health, funding has been under attack for about 2 years now. Something's happened, and it's getting harder and harder to justify why these dollars are saving lives, why it's so important for us to continue to do this work. Louisiana ranks #1 in chlamydia. It's the only thing we're #1 in. We rank #3 in new HIV infections, yet we're stripping money away. It helps people stay in care, have access to their medications. Medicaid is just rescinded. They just sent out letters this week that any Louisiana resident who has permanent resident status is being kicked off of their Medicaid as of October 1st. Even though they did everything right to be here legally and to have access, the federal government is taking that away. And that's going to impact a lot of people living with HIV. So this history and these funds and this legacy really matter, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So if there's any questions or comments, let me know.
Would any of the other panelists like to?
I have a question. Do you find that the younger generation, the next group that is coming in to take the helm and be proactive about things, has an understanding of where we've come through, or do you find that they feel that their struggle that they're going through is more valid in their opinion?
I think both. I think both. It's like the experiences of like younger folks is vastly different from what I experienced coming out of the closet in 1998. It's a very different world. You know, I came out before it was cool was the button that they used to sell at Hot Topic. And now it's coming out and living your authentic life is so much more accessible. I won't say easier, because it's not. But it's more accessible. Like I feel it's becoming more commonplace for discussions around, you know, your sexual orientation, your identity, you know, the fluidity of both. But the flip side, the negative side of all of the ease that folks are seeing now is that they're not remembering like the medication trials. They're not remembering a world before PrEP. Growing up, like the fear. I remember HIV being discussed in whispers when I was a kid. But now we have PrEP. Condoms aren't cool anymore, if nobody told you. I mean, I don't like them either. But it's shifted so much. But I remember when I was diagnosed at 23 in my support group, all of these older men had the buffalo hump. They had like the hard belly. You could see the years of medication and the toll that it took on them. So I know what the impact and how hard it was to get to where we are. But we're living in this amazing age where we have things like PrEP and PrEP for all bodies, all genders. It's not just one option. We have injectables, we have generics that are cheap. There are programs that will mail it to your door and you don't have to go and see your doctor every other month like we did in the beginning. Ease of access is making it so great, but it would be really nice if we could find a way to impress upon everyone, because there's folks my age and older that also ignore these facts too. It's not just younger folks. We fought so hard to get here, and to have these services, and fought for every penny that we have. We just gotta keep those stories going.